Mr. President and Chairman of this occasion, would I please kindly apply through you to rest on already well-established protocol for want of time. The mistress of ceremony, I must applaud you for your very good conduct of these proceedings. I am delighted to be here today to join very notable Nigerians already announced to discuss a topic of great importance to our country at this point in our history. I thank the management and staff of Daily Trust newspapers for this opportunity. Because of the limited time available to speakers for this topic, I shall adopt a very simple question committee. Their final draft was reviewed and amended by the Armed Forces Ruling Council that issued a decree enacting it into law. During Generals Babangida and Abacha's military administrations, there were some amendments to the Constitution which were not carried into a civilian democracy until General Abdulsalami Abubakar assumed office and appointed a Justice Nnia Nwodo committee, which after a tour of the country made a draft constitution, which is Supreme Military Council of 24 officers, chosen without recourse to geographical representation, amended as they pleased, and promulgated into law. That constitution is now the law that is in use in Nigeria. The 1999 constitution is therefore adjudged by many legal experts as not autochthonous. This means that it is not derived from the people. It was not made by their elected representatives. It was not subjected to a plebiscite or referendum. In law, it is not cognizable as a legal constitutional document, yet it remains the ground norm, our source of binding authority as to how our country should be governed. The 1999 Constitution overthrew the sovereignty of regions over their natural resources and domestic security, unleashing in the process an unprecedented fall of educational standards, domestic security, and economic well-being. Under the 1960 Constitution, the 3 and subsequently 4 regions of Nigeria were viable and promoted sustained development in all sectors of the economy. In northern Nigeria, groundnut pyramids grew exponentially, cotton mills, tin, animal husbandry, and grains thrived. Ahmadu Bello University grew into a reputable university, boasting of one of the best architectural faculties in Africa. In western Nigeria, cocoa production flourished and financed free education at all levels, leading to the establishment of University of Ife with internationally renowned pharmacy department. The first television station in Africa was established at Ibadan, and the first stadium in Africa in the same city, Ibadan. Import substitution industries grew, extending to Lagos, and increasingly became the industrial hub of West Africa. In eastern Nigeria, the first iron and steel complex in Black Africa was built in Enugu. The second cement factory in Kalago, the first glass factory in Emene, the second beer brewery in Umuahia, and 2 soft drink plants in Onitsha and Enugu. An American-oriented University of Nigeria grew, threatening the pioneer status of University College Ibadan, which is my alma mater, then a campus of University of London. Military rule and imposition of non-federal constitution changed all that. The unity system of government destroyed competition among regions. It led to a scramble for our collective resources and the foundation of unbridled corruption in government. Quota, as opposed to merit, became the primary consideration for appointment to public offices, to the extent that it was enshrined in our constitution. States and local governments, which did not reflect any demographic equality, were created and used as yardstick for representation in the legislature and the executive. Nigeria began to slide. The following examples will jolt you. Last year, the World Poverty Clerk described Nigeria, and I quote, Nigeria's population in extreme poverty as rising by 5.7 people per minute, and as the country with the most people living in extreme poverty in the world, at 82 million people living in extreme poverty, thereby overtaking India, which was previously the world's country with the most extreme poverty. Second example, Nigerian economy has grossly underperformed relative to her enormous resource endowment and happier nations. It has the 6th largest reserves in the world, oil reserves in the world, gas reserves, sorry. It is endowed in commercial quantities with about 37 solid mineral types and has a population of over 170 million people. Yet economic performance has been rather weak and does not reflect these endowments compared with emerging Asian countries, notably Thailand, Malaysia, India, China, Indonesia, that were behind Nigeria in terms of GDP per capita in 1970. These countries have now transformed their economies and are not only miles ahead of Nigeria, but are also major players in the global economic arena. In 2017, a Japanese, Oshimaya an Indian, writing in worldatlas.com, ranked Nigeria as the world's greatest producers of cassava with 47.4 million tons, followed by Thailand with 30.2 million, and Indonesia with 23.9 million tons, and Brazil with 21.4 million. Cassava is the basis of a multitude of products, including food, flour, animal feed, ethanol, alcohol, starches, for sizing paper and textiles, sweeteners, prepared foods, and biodegradable products. In none of these exports is Nigeria a leading exporter. Instead, Nigeria is a huge importer of ethanol made out of cassava. Nigeria is the 2nd largest grower of tomatoes in Africa, coming after Egypt. Notwithstanding this, we are the highest importer of tomato puree in Africa. Nigeria is the 3rd largest grower of cattle in Africa and the largest grower in sub-Saharan Africa, with an estimated annual production of 19.8 million cattle. Cynthia Ebobo, writing in Business Day, July 6, 2019, reports that Nigeria spends 1.3 billion annually on importation of dairy products like milk, yogurt, and cheese. She quoted Bello Omar, Nigeria's then Permanent Secretary for Ministry of Agriculture, who at the 4th Global Dairy Conference of Africa in Abuja, said, and I quote, Nigeria produces 13% of dairy in West Africa and 0.01% of global dairy at the production capacity of 50,000 liters daily, less than 20% of local potential. Nigeria is also the world's 6th producer of crude oil in the world. In spite of this, NNPC reported that Nigeria consumes between 55 million and 60 million liters of petrol every day, and that the federal government is expected to spend 750.8 billion on petrol subsidy in 2020. In March 2019, Punch newspapers published that Nigeria spent 2.95 trillion to import petroleum motor spirit, also known as petrol, in 2018. This was an increase of 50% from the previous year. Data from the Pipelines and Product Marketing Company, a subsidiary of NNPC, indicates fluctuating monthly consumptions. In January 2018, PMS import averaged 56.5 million liters per day. In February, it jumped to 8.4 million liters per day. In March, it stood at 66.8. In April, 70.7 million. May, 36.7 million. 34.5 million in June, 36.5 million liters per day in July, and 58.4 in August, and 59.8 in September. These fluctuations had nothing to do with changes in domestic demand. They were largely attributable to cross-border smuggling because of dishonesty, poor border security, and differential in price between Nigeria and other neighboring countries, making it difficult to sanitize our fuel supply and distribution metrics. This high cost of importation and high subsidy payments to make pump price affordable is a sad story of a country that, in spite of being the 6th largest producer of crude oil, cannot produce petrol at an affordable price, nor prevent subsidized and imported fuel from being smuggled into neighboring countries and sold at higher prices. Looking at our economy holistically, the following indicators between 2014 and 2018 tell our performance history. In terms of foreign capital investment, we dropped from $5 billion in 2014 to $2 billion in 2018. Unemployment grew from 6% to 23% between 2014 and 18. Inflation from 8 to 11%. GDP growth fell from 6 to 2%. Debt to GDP rose from 12% to 25% and now 35.1%. Oil revenue to GDP grew from 7.6 in 2008 to 8.73 now. Debt service to revenue grew from 27% in 2004 to 60 in 2018 and 99 today. Bloomberg Economics African Performance Rank gave us a positive from 12th, a negative, from 12th country to the 25th. World Bank Ease of Doing Business was the one we did well, from 147 to 14th. World Economic Forum Competitiveness from 127th country to 115. And Transparency International Corruption Perception Index, we fell from 136 to 144. The rest of the macro statistics you can educate yourself on in pages 10 and 11. And I move on to page 12. What general deductions can we make from here? External debt accumulation has seen federal government external debt grow from $10.7 billion in 2015 to $21 billion, up by $10.3 billion, 135% growth rate. Domestic debt has moved from 8.3 trillion in 2015 to 12.7 in 2008, a whooping 44% in 3 years. Cost of servicing of federal government debts have grown from 32.7% in 2015 to 61.5% in 2017. Our daily production of oil has moved from 2.8 million barrels per day in 2011 to 1.174 million barrels in 2020. America has discovered a new oil production technology called shale oil production, based on the liquefying of rocks and similar hydrocarbons. Similarly, energy production from solar and waste has improved exponentially over the past 2 years. China and OECD countries have also put a deadline of 2020 to 2024 for cessation of production of machines dependent on fossil oil. Right now, in Germany and China, demand for electric cars have surpassed demand for cars operated on fossil oil, that is to say, our crude oil. Bloomberg predicts that in the next 6 months, America's production of shale oil will increase to 12 million barrels per day if it survives the low demand occasioned by coronavirus crisis. It's also predicted last year that following the price war between Russia and Saudi Arabia, world oil price will fall to $30 per barrel. It actually fell following the COVID crisis, but has risen to $50 per barrel following the present winter season. In the face of this grim economic reality, the Population Reference Bureau predicts that Nigeria will in 2050 become the world's 4th largest population, with a population of 397 million, coming after China, India, and the United States of America. This is only about 29 years away. Any other country in our situation would have declared a state of emergency long ago to plan for the day oil price will fall. Saudi Arabia, knowing this, is investing $110 billion to develop its estimated 200 trillion cubic feet of wet gas by 2036. When completed, it will provide $8.6 billion annual income and add $20 billion annually to its gross domestic product. This is apart from the production boost its economy will receive from an increased, cheaper, and more diverse source of energy. Right now, research has reached an advanced stage in the United States of America on a new all-solid hybrid solar based on organic-inorganic metal halide called perovskite, which, using solar power technology, has the capacity of turning sunlight into energy and expanding the science of medical imaging in newer and more profound dimensions. The photoelectric power conversion efficiency of perovskite solar cells has increased from 3.8% in 2009 to 22.1% in 2006, making these solar cells the best potential candidate for the new generation of solar cells to replace traditional silicon solar cells in future. Light absorption and photoelectric conversion has become better, more efficient, and a threat to oil-based economy. Research is also advanced in the United States and Europe on 5G technological telecommunications, which will achieve an improved quality and speed of internet communication that will promote new models of self-driving cars, better movie downloads, improved road navigation, and a new medical diagnostic tool called the tricoder. The tricoder is like a telephone. If you exhale from your mouth into it, it will diagnose 43 possible diseases in your body instantaneously. Now, tricoder. Now, China is already developing 5G technology through its mega telecommunications company called Huawei. A new telephone battery called graphene batteries will be developed soon to replace lithium batteries. These graphene batteries will charge in 20 minutes instead of the average 90 minutes for conventional lithium batteries. It can stand 1,500 charge cycles instead of the 300 to 500 cycles of lithium batteries. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu recently informed the world of his country's new digital explorations. Apart from discovering the cure for cancer and the capacity to make life interminable, Israel can, by drone technology, determine the chemical deficiency of a plant in a farm without setting its foot on the farm. It can also cure deficiency by drone technology. The United States has developed this drone technology to the point where it's able to destroy an Iranian general in a foreign country without moving out of Washington. Now, UNICEF has told us that there are 12 million Nigerian children out of school. And this is possible because of the system of government that we have. We can restructure to revamp our agricultural potentialities. When I speak of restructuring, some of my northern Nigerian friends have suggested to me that I do not want the North to partake in the oil revenue of Nigeria. Well, I have just outlined the indisputable fact that oil is a fast-drying resource for earning of foreign exchange. The truth is that most reliable source of revenue now is agriculture. Netherlands is today the largest exporter of food in the world. Its cross-sectional area is about half the size of Niger State, and is the world's greatest exporter of potatoes. Its revenue from vegetables and dairy contribute more than 100 billion annually to